It should be a good test for the Golden Knights tonight at the Fortress, riding a three-game win streak against the East, but still 10, 11, and 2 against the Eastern Conference. We'll see how VGK measures up against the top team in the Atlantic, the Toronto Maple Leafs, tonight. We'll talk more about it and much, much more ahead on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
From Las Vegas, Tony Cardasco, longtime sportscaster, marketing consultant, along with collectibles editor for the Hockey News and owner of Silver State Sports and Cards and Sports, Chris Golick. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast. And please make sure that you subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. Coming up ahead, the sinking Oilers make a trade. Will this start a domino effect of sorts? Plus our locks and predictions. Do the Toronto Maple Leafs, Chris, have the team that makes a deep playoff run this season? Perhaps Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, future VGKer, William Nylander, John Tavares, plenty of firepower offensively for the Maple Leafs. The question, however, has to be, it lies with the Maple Leafs defense. A New York Times article that came out recently, this story analyzed the Toronto Blue Liners, and here's a team that has allowed 25% more high danger chances the past 40 games. And then in the first 20 games of the season, they, I think, were a top team defensively in playing in the front of the net. They rank 20th now, by the way, in that category. And Chris Tanev is one of the players whose stats really dropped significantly in the category as well. Simon Benoit gave up a slot goal against San Jose in the loss the other night. They can score, but the biggest question tonight and moving forward is, can Toronto defend?
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11th overall are the Maple Leafs in goals against at 175. Let's start there. Let's continue to the goaltending. Joseph Woll is a 907. Anthony Stolarz is a 926. They've got goaltending. Now they've got defense. Let's look at some plus minus numbers here for a second. I know people don't like it as much as I do, but deal with it. You have a handful of players in the -1 to -5 range, and the Morgan Riley defenseman is a -15. Otherwise, -5 is the worst, and it's a bunch of players in that -1 to -5 range, ranging from defensemen, younger players, vets, whatever. It doesn't matter. Comparing to the Golden Knights, you have 4 players that are a -6 or worse, in Nick Hague, Nicholas Waugh, Dorofeev, and Tomas Hertl, going the opposite way, -12, 10, 7, and 6. So long story short, yes, the Maple Leafs, they can score. They've got the top end talent. You mentioned Nylander, you mentioned Marner, Tavares, and Austin Matthews. 76, 62, 52, and 52 points. And then up and coming player Matthew Knies, 41 points. Let's compare that to the Golden Knights scoring for a second right now, just to get a side-by-side. Eichel, 72 points. Mark Stone, 51. Theodore, injured, but Theodore, 48. Hertl, 46. So looks like they have a little better scoring on paper, at least that upper-end talent, as the Maple Leafs do. They're very good on the defensive side. They've got good goaltending. This is a Maple Leafs team that is for real right now.
Yeah, and they do come off of actually, a game that they lost in a shootout to San Jose. So
Oops.
You're going to stumble once in a while. Austin Matthews, last 10 games, Chris, 12 assists, 2 goals. Matthew Knies, who you talked about, has 24 goals. Nylander, 35 goals this season, 35 goals. So this is a team that can cook, yes, offensively, but defensively, again, it's not, the pluses and minuses that really are of a concern. It's the high danger chances that they give up in the slot. particularly. And Morgan Riley is on a slide, according to a graphic that I saw.
Yeah, I mean, Morgan Riley's defensive metrics, just based off the plus minus, didn't look too good by any means. No, this should be a fun game. I mean, this is the best chance that I think Canada has to erase that cup drought that goes back over 30 years right now, I believe to 93, the Montreal Canadiens. But yeah, the Maple Leafs checked a few boxes in the offseason. Stolarz from Florida, I think, was a dynamite pickup, and Joseph Wall was someone who has just been around for a while, and all of a sudden he seemed to figure things out. You mentioned Austin Matthews, and should be a fun game. Unfortunately, I got a big release day. I can't make it tonight, but it should be a real fun game. I always love going to seeing when the Maple Leafs come because there's so much talent on the ice, and now they have a complete team. And I thought they would have been out of the first. Or no, they did get out of the first round. No, they lost last year to the Bruins.
Boston.
It was a game
Boston.
7, and it was not Sorokin. It was Samsonov in net who had a really good game.
Remember, all the talk and the chatter back and forth. Remember the goaltenders going at it?
They were chirping, really?
Oh yeah. Talk about
you talking Olmark, and then are you talking about the offseason stuff?
Yeah, all the offseason
of course,
stuff.
yeah. I thought you were there. They did something then. Yeah, no. Samsonov, you did turn your burner on, bro. Yeah.
Samsonov. We're going to stick with that pronunciation, like the Kings called them.
That's fine.
They're talking about adding a center and another defenseman here at the trade deadline. So we'll have to see what they come up with. This is a team that beat VGK 3-0 earlier this season in Toronto, and they've closed the gap. The Golden Knights, VGK now with 10 wins, 11 losses, and then two overtime L's. So they've closed the gap because they were really bad against the East earlier this season. So they have won 3 straight, as we mentioned at the top, against the Eastern Conference.
I don't know what the Leafs are going to do as far as stuff at the deadline. Right now, their cap space is $100,000. Their LTIR pool is $1.4 million. Pacioretty, IR, it's only $870,000 if he moves. I don't know what's up with Chris Tanev. He's on IR right now. That could be $4.5 million, depending on how long he's projected to be out. So yeah, hard to get a read on what the Leafs are going to be able to do. Of course, the next coming hours will give us, will shed some light on that. Looking at the game log right now, yeah, I mean that loss against the Sharks on home ice of all things too, and then the Sharks go and crush Buffalo last night too. So they're Sharks are on a heater as well, I guess. But before that, a 4-game winning streak that looks like coming out of the Four Nations, the 5-game winning streak coming out of the Four Nations. A lone loss to Vancouver right before the Four Nations. They were on a 3-game winning streak. Okay, here we go, Tony. 3-game winning streak. Hold on, this goes farther back. 4-game. Okay. Going back to January the 9th, a 3-game losing streak, and then a 3-game winning streak, and then a 3-game losing streak, and then a 3-game winning streak. So the Toronto Maple Leafs do things in threes, apparently.
So they're going to lose tonight, you're saying, because this will be their second loss in a row.
Apparently, yes, but they were on a 5-game winning streak, so that blew that whole theory. So who knows?
It blew that theory.
Yeah, so I mean, listen, it'll be fun, and I'm not sure which goalie would be starting tonight. I'm sure those details will come out later in the morning. Plenty of media follows Toronto. Plenty of road media follows the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'll say that again. So yeah, it makes for a little more coverage, a little more fun dynamic, a little more there you go.
Yeah, it should be a fun event, a fun game. A lot of Maple Leaf fans have made it into our city as well.
I hope so. My tickets haven't sold yet. I hope someone overpays for them. Be good.
They will. Well, did you add the tariff on there too? No. Oh, that's pretty bad.
Maybe that's why they haven't sold.
That's why they're not selling. Yeah. So for the VGK yesterday, we saw William Karlsson back on the ice again, but they just had him on a pitch count of sorts.
Yeah.
He was out there for around Cassidy said around 20 minutes or so, and then he left the ice. So they're bringing him back slowly. And then Cole Schwindt. Now, where would a player like Schwindt slot in the future with this team? Because I don't know where he fits right now.
I mean, you can do a whole segment on
Lavoie's spot.
Say that again.
Lavoie's spot. Where would he play?
That's a good question. Let me pull up the current lines
I know
right
Cassidy.
now.
Cassidy
I
was
mean,
pretty
Olafson's
pumped
down on the
about him.
fourth line. I mean, Olafson's about to be a healthy scratch right now. There was some shakeups yesterday. Olafson was down on the bottom line. I think they moved Pearson all the way up to the top line in practice yesterday. So,
That's funny. Now that's funny.
well,
Again,
is
another new
Olafson,
player up top on the top line, like we were addressing yesterday. That's
and
funny.
you know who we
I didn't see
forgot
that.
yesterday when we were talking about that? Cal Burke was on the top line
Oh
for
my
2 or 3 games this
goodness.
season,
Oh my
Tony.
goodness. Wow.
Now,
Yeah.
at the time, Cal Burke was an injury situation, but still,
Even
point
so.
being is the top line, and that we're continuing our segment from yesterday's show, of course, but the top line, there's some questions right now, which is odd because Jack Eichel is having an all-world season, but it's a good thing because it seems like whoever they put high danger. I just saw your thing. That's funny. It seems like whoever they put on that line finds a way. Eichel still produces, so that's a good thing. This isn't like it was in the Stanley Cup run when it felt like until Barbashev arrived, there was a gaping hole on that wing.
Coming up next to the Oilers, they made a trade yesterday. Does that trade for Trent Frederick start the domino effect? The dominoes, are they falling in the Pacific? That's our topic next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started. There's no better place to get in on that action than at FanDuel. Why? Because it is America's #1 sports book. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to be on the fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I really do enjoy FanDuel's live betting feature. It keeps every moment of the game exciting. And whether I'm backing my team, the New York Knickerbockers, or if I'm rooting against the Knicks, which I do periodically too, especially when they're playing the Celtics because they just can't seem to beat them, it is an absolute way to stay into the action. If you're looking for a late game rally or you're picking up a player to hit a clutch three, I've never felt like I'm missing my chance there. So I want to get into the game. Plus, the app is so easy to use. And when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bets win. Just visit fanduel.com and join today. That's fanduel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the National Basketball Association. Welcome back from Las Vegas on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. You can find us wherever you get your podcast. And please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. Fridays, WTF Day. Don't forget to get all those comments in. Saturday, sometimes you've got the Chris Jr. show. So Trent Frederick traded by Boston to Edmonton in a 3-team trade on Tuesday. Frederick, a player in his final year of a 2-year contract, 15 points in 57 games. The question that looms, does this trade officially start the dominoes falling, particularly in the Pacific?
What I find strange, I didn't realize that Trent Frederick is injured right now. He's on IR.
Is on IR, and they don't know how significant that injury is.
Yeah, I mean, was this IR and then roster management at the same time, keeping a player out of the lineup, knowing something was about to happen? It's kind of strange. Me and Chris were actually talking about this yesterday. I said it's kind of strange that teams trade for injured players, and then Chris right away corrected me and said, "Hey, the Golden Knights traded for Jack Eichel, and he was hurt." So I said, "Okay, that's fair." We'll see how that plays out. It's certainly more of a depth move than anything. If you look at Frederick's numbers, his top offensive season came last season with the Bruins, actually at 40 points, 18 goals, 22 assists, 31 points in 79 games the season before that. 27-year-old, so he's probably coming into his own right now, and he gets to join a high-powered Edmonton Oilers team who I think are just simply kind of setting the pins up, so to speak, right now. They certainly have more room to work with. There's 4.5 million cap space. It says the LTIR pool is 5 million. That, of course, is Evander Kane. So Oilers are positioning themselves. I mean, they got to get out of the schneid that they're on right now first before they can even worry about making a run. But they're going to make moves. They're going to be aggressive, and they're going to force McCrimmon. They're going to force the LA Kings, is that Rob Blake? They're going to force them to make some moves. Kings, interesting story. All their players came back for being hurt, and they suck now, by the way. Figure that one out.
Yeah, they're in the tank too. And that Oiler team lost 6-2 to the surging Ducks.
Playoff Ducks, right, Tony?
They're a playoff team. 6 of 7 games they've lost. The Oilers have after that break. And without Evander Kane,
hey, but
his name?
Connor McDavid's got a name etched in a cup, Tony, so it's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Without Evander Kane, that was good. Braden Prahal's name's on that Four Nations Cup. Without Evander Kane, this is a very soft team. So they felt as though Frederick, who has that ankle/foot injury, will add when he's healthy to the physicality. And he's really good on the bottom six. And he is a physical guy who can forecheck. So that's the reason why they made this trade. And it might turn out to be a good one, because you and I, when we think of Edmonton, we don't think of them as a physical team, especially with Kane out of the lineup.
Yeah, that's fair. The Golden Knights have had some, of course, noteworthy moments with them, Leon Draisaitl, Pietrangelo, and everything. So yeah, I mean that I get all that. And it's the type of move that the Golden Knights almost feel like they should make, as far as adding that physical presence that can still contribute offensively right now. Kolesar is kind of that guy, but he's not that guy. There's no one in the visiting locker room talking about Keegan Kolesar. They talk about Tom Wilson, for an example, and there's other types of players who fit that. And I'm not knocking Kolesar's game by any means, but he's certainly above his weight class a little bit when it comes to being the protector of the VGK crest. He's not that guy. Collectively, the team comes together nicely, but Kolesar, every team usually has that one player that's kind of the protector, but now that's transitioned to more of a skill type of role. And Kolesar maybe is kind of walking that line, but I feel like the physical presence come playoff time is going to be needed, especially if more injuries start to come. You look at Shea Theodore's injury as a result of a weird hit. So yeah, definitely a little more protection needed for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, we got word that the HSK will be coming to the Vegas Thrill game tonight. So it's a good time to see those guys. They get rowdy. Are they on another all-star break, or what's going on? How are they off tonight?
They usually play on the weekends. Every now and then there's a Wednesday game mixed in, but apparently not tonight, obviously.
Yeah, not tonight. No, they're going to be out there raging, and they have fun. They're a good group to have at your matches and your games. And Misha Tate, another
I saw that, yeah.
add-on. Yeah, Misha will be there tonight, and other women being honored, Women in Sports Night. So it starts at 7 if you're in the vicinity there. If you're in the hood, so to speak, there.
Family Farm. Kentucky.
Hey, we always talk about the personal side, right, of these players. And then, okay, you're going to get traded and big deal. But again, when you look at the situation, right, for players, they have to uproot their families, find new schools, do all this stuff. Did you see, I posted last night, a player that you thought might fit in with VGK, Brock Nelson, the way he was teary-eyed because after the game, I put this poor fellow on the spot.
Man,
what's it been like, wearing the Islanders jersey, and now, hey, we're going to get right to it. Like, you're going to be dumped here by the end of the week and whatever. So he was teary-eyed. But Brock Nelson, are you still wondering if VGK tries to trade for Nelson? I know you liked him a couple of weeks ago.
I like his experience. I like a lot of things about him. And Shannon Hogan was the interviewer with I'm assuming she's with the state-run media with the New York Islanders organization, and she was pouring it on. I mean, she got her money shot as far as the reaction and everything out of Brock Nelson. But I don't know if that was a little too thick. I don't know if that was designed, but that was, for lack of a better term, that was a funeral as far as. That was his goodbye. That a eulogy maybe is a better way to put that right there. But yeah, Brock Nelson, I mean, 43 points, 69 points, 75 points, 59 points. You're talking a center that can find ways to affect the outcome of the game. And he's probably been in a top 6 role with the Islanders. He would probably slide in on the third line here in Vegas. And the Howden line would be destroyed, Tony. I don't know what would happen there. But I like Nelson if William Karlsson's not in the picture, I guess is probably where I'm ultimately going with this right now. If William Karlsson comes back, I know you're going to make a joke about having 6 centers on the team and everything, but this would really create a logjam. Now, if like a Nicholas Waugh is involved in going the other way and Brett Howden goes down to the fourth line, I think that would make sense. And of course, there's other pieces of that deal that would need to happen. Speaking of Nicholas Waugh, I feel like a few fans have reached out. We've had some interactions here on social about trading Nick Waugh. Nick Waugh is expendable right now. Nick Waugh as a fourth line center is a good player. Nick Waugh as a killer on the top 2 kills is fine. Nick Waugh in any other role does not get it done right now. And that's, I think as a result, Brett Howden has passed him on the depth chart, so to speak. Brett Howden has earned every bit of what he's getting right now as far as that third line center role and elevated minutes and more responsible moments of the game. So curious if Nick Waugh is someone who might be on the move, and especially if there's any deal that involves a center coming to Vegas, it means one of two things. I think one, it means William Karlsson's season is likely over. I still think they're just trying to get him out, and they're trying to do it right now at the deadline to see how he responds. 20 minutes on the ice, and he's already off. I mean, that's worse than Charlie Sheen in Major League 2 quitting after 2 pitches in spring training. But it needs to. You need to see more out of Karlsson to see if how he's responding. He hasn't been himself the entire season. So if the Golden Knights do acquire a center, option A, William Karlsson's done for the regular season. Option B, a center is going the other direction, has to be. Likely Nicholas Waugh, not likely to be Brett Howden after he got that glorious extension by the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, after that, he's not done much. And you did a poll yesterday. What were your results there as far as VGK and what they'll be trading for? And what are fans' thoughts there? Because I'm really curious what the fans think. And again, if this does indeed start the domino effect, I think today could be oh no, I'm not going to use that word, am I? It could be a glorious day. Remember, like, fanboy media gets stuck on the word glorious, so I had to throw that out there. I'm chirping, bro.
So the poll was, what is McCrimmon going to do?
I'm cracking, and I'm chirping.
You're high danger. What is McCrimmon going to do? 1 big and 2 small trades. 2 small trades, mayhem, pure mayhem, or stand pat. Yeah, right.
What was the first one again? Say that.
1 big and 2 complimentary trades.
I think it's 1 and 1. I think it
one could be
from
one
column A and 1 from column B.
Everyone thinks 2 small trades. So of the 118 voters, about 50 of them are drinking the Kool-Aid that McCrimmon's pouring everybody, saying that he's not going to do a whole lot. Something else I said on social. Right now, McCrimmon is going to be a kid in a Toys R Us with a blank check and 30 minutes to go shopping. I mean, I can't see, unless Shea Theodore is slated to come back sometime before the end of the regular season, of course. But I cannot see a world that exists where Kelly McCrimmon is going to sit on up to $6 million to work with at a trade deadline.
Are there any minor league players and such that you think will be moved? I really do think, again, for him to just go and grow, Brisson needs to be expendable, if you will, and add on just so that he can play somewhere else. He's never going to play here. And then what is our boy's name? Connolly, the guy that's got a lot of baggage with him. I would trade him.
Trevor Connolly, of course, would be on the table. And there's no one.
I would get rid of him. Somebody mentioned him yesterday. That's why I brought it up. And there's the guy that's going to be nothing but trouble, I believe, in the future moving forward and cut the ties.
I mean, I don't know. I've heard off the table things. I've heard on the table things about him. And at the end of the day, I think we're we're still judging. Is he 19 right now? He's 19 or 20, I believe. He could even still be 18 for all I know.
Right.
It's a lot of judgment to put on a kid right now. I'm not
fully approved that yet.
I doubt it, but the point being is that Conley might end up becoming a much better individual than what he has as he's a child, right? I mean, he's still a kid. I hold out hope for that. But that said, if there is a major shakeup situation coming where a Brisson, a Trevor Connolly, and a second round pick need to go the other direction,
I think he's okay. I think that you can develop him. I don't think they've worked to develop him the proper
or he
way.
doesn't respond to VGK. I mean, listen, we're talking a player with professional pedigree starting from his father. So he knows what it takes to be a professional hockey player. So where's the gap with Brendan Brisson then? Is it simply he just doesn't possess what it takes to become an NHL player?
The VGK way would be, okay, you know what? He doesn't fit in with his team, so let's start bad-mouthing him because that's their way.
They wouldn't do that until he was off the team, Tony. They wouldn't badmouth him on the team. That'd be
maybe they didn't realize it that he's okay.
No, but listen, Brisson with his father, he knows what it takes to be a professional daily NHL hockey player. So there's one of two things with Brisson not clicking right now. One could simply be he just isn't that guy. He's not gonna. He's Cody Glass with better hair. That's number one. Or number two, there's just something upstairs with Brisson where he's not putting the effort in. And with the opportunities that Brisson has been afforded and seeing how his numbers aren't necessarily, I mean, what's he doing in the American League right now? 19 points, 5 goals in 45 games. Brendan Brisson is not that player by any means. He's a much better player than this. So
I think he is.
I would lean towards him not putting the work in.
Okay, we'll have to see. Coming up next, it is our locks and predictions. I'm going to predict there might be a trade for VGK by the end of today. How's that? We'll get to that next right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back on Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick reporting from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. You could find us wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. It is definitely a must. And for all of our fans from Canada, I'm going to give you all a shout out because anytime VGK plays a team from the Great North, we get a lot of people that tune in. I am going to take my prediction. I'll start off today. I'll take Toronto with a 5-3 victory. I never go for the marquee players, as you know, but I will take Jack Eichel. I think Eichel's going to come out of it tonight. And I will take Pavel Dorofeyev, 5-3 Maple Leafs, a team that beat VGK 3-0 earlier this season. I think we'll see a lot more tempo and pace tonight. Two teams that should definitely have their legs in the contest. Little Chris has joined the show.
We got a party.
What is that shirt that he's wearing there, man? He's outgrowing it, bro.
All right, Golden Knights. Fire away. Golden Knights, Toronto.
All right, Golden Knights, Toronto. Go ahead, big fella.
I think Toronto's gonna give us pain for the second time this year with another 3-0 victory for Toronto.
Okay, 3-0. And
who are players for the Golden Knights aren't might score?
Might score, yeah. If they do score, who might? Oh, you're not going to pick any because they're not.
He'll pick.
I know.
Brandon Saad.
He likes Saad.
Stone, if anything.
Stone. All right, man.
He's going to pick White Cloud. White Cloud's been his go-to lately.
All right, that's good.
Thanks, buddy.
Chris. Off to school he goes.
Pretty much, yeah. All right, so VGK is playing well right now. I'm going to stick.
That kid's going to be 7 feet tall. He's going to be.
He's going to be 7 feet tall and about 40 pounds. But yeah,
he's going to keep.
Go eat a sandwich, bro. No, I think the Golden Knights continue to roll right now. They're on a nice little streak right now. It seems like things are starting to click. Aiden Hill, I'll say this again: 1 goal given up. Only played 2 games, but 1 goal given up since the Four Nations break. So I think we're seeing a better version of Aiden Hill right now, hopefully. I think tonight's going to be a higher scoring game. I don't know if that's necessarily knocking Aiden Hill. I just think that's how it's going to go. I'm going to go 5-4 Vegas regulation. Give me Howden and Nick Waugh. I think a game like this, you might see some complementary pieces getting involved. And I'll double back. If anyone plans on booing national anthems or anything like that, just stay in the concourse and leave that crap. Like,
Fans here won't do
let's
that.
enjoy a hockey game. Let's enjoy a
Fans
hockey
here
game.
won't do that. We've got a lot of classy fans.
People
here.
were booing at the Canucks game, Tony, and it's going to be
They
worse
were?
after yesterday. Yeah, not many. To be fair, it was not many. Like all the fans that did hear people booing during the Canucks game, it was kind of few and far between, but people did acknowledge it, including myself.
Be classy VGK fans.
I think tonight's giving, I'll put it mildly, current events, I think it's going to be ugly, and I think both sides might be booing, honestly, and I don't want that crap at all.
No, let's not do that here. Leave the politics at home.
Please.
We appreciate everyone tuning in.
Both sides.
Both sides. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much, especially our everydayers and those that are following us from abroad. Plenty of people outside of the U.S. and North America and Canada and that are checking us out on the daily. And don't forget Fridays, WTF. Saturdays is what? The Saturday Chris and Chris Jr. show.
Leafs fans, enjoy your time in Vegas. I know a lot of Canadian fans do travel, so enjoy yourselves tonight, please.
Yes, spend plenty of money and have fun. For my man Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please take care.